Okay, great. You guys know my computer is just so sometimey sometimes. So, actually, let me, because I was rocking out waiting for it to do its thing. So, in the background, you're listening to Esperanza Spalding. I was gonna have more of K-pop feel today, but I was feeling like this today. So it's kind of foggy outside, and so that's why my light looks uber bright today. Normally the sun counters it out, but I didn't feel like unplugging everything, going to the bathroom, which is all the more reason that I need to hurry up, kapshida, and get my webcam up and running, right? So we can do these things from my school, from my office, on the KTX, because that's basically where I live every weekend. So yeah. Today I decided to rock a little, can you see it? Wait, because I'm short. Can you see this? Little, oh, this side, here we go. Little Nelia from my sorority, under my PJs, my faithful PJs. So, because I don't want to be naked, right? As you can tell, I'm still kind of getting up, but I did write a list so I could stay on topic today, mainly because I have to go to work. Now the kids are off vacation, so I actually have kids that come into the classroom now. Before I was just warming the seat. My voice is kind of raspy because it's morning time. I'm gonna have some water, which is really good, some China water. I think I read somewhere that water is bad for you in the morning. Not bad for you, but like to clear your throat, water is not what you want to do. I don't know. So anyway, speaking of I don't know, I am starting with 5 things that I don't know. For whatever reason, people talk to me and my hand is still hurt, by the way, but I took my cast off because I could not sleep with it. So I will put it back on. So it's still jacked. I just took the cast off. Yeah, so I feel like I look shorter in this. Let's see. Okay. 5 things I don't know. Because I feel like when people meet me or when they watch this YouTube, they assume that I'm some kind of, not guru, but they really, yeah, I don't have all the answers. I'm just able to share the answers that I've learned because I've been through a lot, which seems like I know a lot, but not really. I've had a lot of failure, so I've had a lot of learning time, which is how I see failure. It's time to learn, right? So, I would like to, the 5 things this morning, I wrote down 5 things I don't know. These are the 5 things that people ask me often. I just don't know the answer, so I'm going to give it to you now. All right. Number 1, why people hurt each other. I don't know. You know, people message me on here or they know me in person and they want to know, oh, I went through this. I just don't understand why this person did this. Tell me, Avery. Tell me why they did this or they did that. Pumpkin, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I know that's loud. Okay, so I know that hurt people hurt people. So 9 times out of 10, not always, but generally, people don't wake up saying, oh, I'm going to hurt this other person today. I can't wait to figure out how to hurt them. Usually, it's not intentional, but usually you can trace it back to something that has to do with them. And so therefore, you can never be put yourself in a place of responsibility for other people. Because I don't know why people hurt people. They probably don't know why they hurt you. So you can only be responsible for yourself and how you perceive it. Like, oh, you hurt me, but you know what? I'm going to keep it moving. You did hurt me, but I refuse to be the victim. So that's what I do know, that you can control your role in the cycle of hurt. Does that make sense? So yeah, I don't know why people hurt people. I do know that hurt people generally hurt people. So I think the world would be a better place if people just learn how to love each other, learn how to like give good energy, receive good energy. When I say energy, I don't mean anything mystic, like, oh, I need to go get a charm or something. No, I mean energy, like the vibes you're putting out there, what your personal perception as a person, what you're putting out. If people put out good things, then they would receive good things. And if people put out love and hope for people and encouragement, then they would get those things back. So I wanted to clarify that, because I say energy a lot and I say vibes a lot. I want to clarify what I mean when I say that. All right, something else I don't know. This is a question I get a lot, and I laugh every time I read it. I don't know why God seems far away to some people and really close to others. For me, it was never a question that he was there. Even with daddy issues, maybe how I interacted with him was different, but it was never a doubt in my mind that there is a God. I never doubted that. How well I was connected to him, that was all based on me thinking that he didn't love me based on my sin, or that there were conditions to his love. But once I figured out his love was unconditional, it made everything else in the Bible make sense. So if you're a believer and the Bible is slightly confusing to you, you probably should reassess how you view God. Like, in what way is he your God? I think that's really important. That's my Skype, sorry. So I don't know. Some people, it just really takes them a long time, and it's like, dude, God is not that hard or painful. It's really easy. Like, there's something bigger than you. You should get to know the thing that's bigger than you, because they're bigger than you. And not only they're bigger than you, they have the biggest amount of love for you beyond what you could possibly imagine. They're like the doting parent. Like, everything is so cute. It makes them smile. Everything. Like, you could fall, oh, you could eat all the food, oh, everything makes them smile. He is the doting parent, like, of all doting parents. So when you figure out that everything you do makes him smile, like he's been smiling since you woke up this morning, I think it changes your perception. But I honestly don't know. Some people would just get it, and some people are just, I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. I don't know why there was a snake in the Garden of Eden in the first place. I get this a lot from non-believers. And they're like, well, why would God put a snake in the garden in the first place? If he loves us so much. If he knew that, I don't know. To know the mind of God would require me to be God. And for your sakes, you better be glad I'm not God. There's some people that I would have zapped a long time ago. There's some people I would have zapped and probably been sorry about it later. Yeah, So you guys better be glad I'm not God. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. What I do know is that there was a snake in the garden, and that at that point we were separated from God, and that bigger than the snake in the garden, there was a Christ on the cross, and him resurrecting from that cross allowed me to be able to go directly to God. And I wouldn't dare go to him with something as foolery as, why was there a snake in there in the first place, God? I'm so enthralled with the things that he has for me, that the little things that people debate about in the Bible, potatoes, to me, that's small beans compared to the other things of God and the other things that he reveals in the Word of God is so much bigger than that, so much more in depth than that. So I don't know why there was a snake, but I'm sure glad there was a Christ. I know that. Because of the snake, that Christ reconnected us back, and I live in the Garden of Eden every day. I mean, it sounds deep, but really I do. I wake up, I tell God what I want, I reach for what I want, and I grab it. I'm naming things around me like, oh, that's going to be mine. What I won't do is that. I will not have that. I live the Garden of Eden every day, so I don't know why there was a snake. I don't know. It's hot in here. Ooh, Jesus. Maybe it's this thermal hoodie I have on, so I'm not naked for you guys. Don't know. Clearly, this is chicken. This is chicken scratch. This really hurts my wrist. It's really jacked. Don't know. I don't know when God will return. People ask me that all the time. Like, it's so funny. Like, I could tell them, yeah, I live in Korea and blah, 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 blah. And they immediately start asking me questions about God. I don't know. I don't know. I am comfortable in saying that there are plenty of things I don't know, that I'm learning and may never learn till the day I die. I'm comfortable in saying that. So, yeah, I don't know when he's returning. There have been a lot of scientific theologians, they call themselves, which I think is a dangerous mix, but they have, calculated downtime and the 70th year of Daniel, and they love it. That's their passion, is to try and estimate and calculate when God will return, which is interesting because the same Bible that they're researching clearly says no man knows the day nor hour. So you should work while it's day, because night is sure to come. So with that, as a scientist, I would see that as a scientific theologian, I would see that as absolute evidence that I probably am chasing my tail. You're like a dog chasing their tail. We say that in the South. I don't know if you guys say it, but I'm chasing my tail. I'm not going to find an answer because no man knows. Because then if I knew, or if I found out scientifically what day he was returning, clearly that would negate everything else. So I don't know. I get that a lot. Well, when is he coming back? If he's coming, people say, I don't know. I know that if he doesn't come for 1,000,000 years and I live for 80 more, that would make me really old. But if I live for 80 more years, the fact that I'm living with God, the fact that I have an assured plan and I have a peace and there's a direction and there's like an incredible force of love in my life. Like, if I never got married, if I never had children, if it was just me and God for the next 80 years, I'm so happy with that. My life is so much better because of it. It's not about heaven or hell. For me, my relationship is not based on heaven or hell. It's based on my relationship, my daily interaction with him. So yeah, if I had to spend the next 80 years interacting with Christ and he didn't come back for another 1,000,000, would it make me a difference? Because it's not about end game for me, it's about day to day. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know everything in the Bible. Sorry. These are questions that I constantly get, so I figured I'd dispel them, or not dispel them, but tell you that I don't know. Which is important, I think, for everybody to just take a second and say things you don't know. I wish my list was funnier, but it's early. So I wish I had more interesting. I know that I don't know a lot of things. Like, I don't know why chickens drown when it rains. Like, why do they hold their head up and don't put their beaks down? I don't know. Because to me, if something was going down my nose, I would like put my beak down. But no, chickens die in the rain all the time. They just keep looking up at the sky and they drown. So yeah, things like that, I don't know. Why Korea? This is my number 5. I don't know why Korea. I don't know why God told me to come here. I don't know why me. And I can see what they need here, but I don't know why me. Why did I have to come to this particular country at this particular time to do my company? I don't know. I really don't know. That's another question I get. Oh, sounds good, but why Korea? I don't know. I don't know why Korea. I just know God said go, and I was like, okay. And then he started setting up provision and people and all sorts of cool things. So, yeah, I don't know. Interesting that this particular song just came on because I am now talking about Africa. Not the continent, but I have to sneeze. Maybe I don't. It's right there. Oh. Alright, so I went on my dates with Mr. Africa. He'll be Mr. Africa for the remainder of these videos. So I never want to incriminate anybody by putting their business out there. So, but you know who you are because you'll know if you went on a date with me, right? So I went on a date with Mr. Africa. And it was everything I thought it was going to be. Now, I know the power of suggestion and the power of perception. So maybe some of it was because I had already expected I expected it to be crazy. Maybe that's part of it. But I was like, really, dude? Don't really. First of all, I went to I was late because I had to go get my cast on. They had to like set it and all that. Dude, first thing I say is, man, I'm, super sorry I'm late because, but I told him I was going to be late, but when I finally got there, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, goodness, you have to wait, I have to do my cast, and, snowboarding, it gets you every time, right? That's when I first met him. So we get to the restaurant, and he's like, you must tell me, what happened to your hand? And I was like, yeah, I covered that already. And you seemed that you had the interested face like you were listening. Apparently you were not. So I was like, oh, I told you before, snowboarding. He was like, oh, really? I must not have been listening. Yeah, think so? Then, I'm going to try and look at myself and mimic to you guys. This is how the conversation went. Yeah, the majority of the conversation was here, in my boobs. Every now and then he looked up, but the majority of the conversation was like all chest. And interesting enough, Korea is a rude society. They are very rude, just as a whole. They don't even know they're being rude, they're just rude. You get used to it, but they're rude. So, I've never, however, had them stare at my boobs. I've had little kids come in like, oh, which is really funny. The kids at my church do it all the time. Like, because I guess their girls are comfortable with me and they're kids. So, Ebony, and then they like run and bury their face in my boobs. And one little kid, faithfully, every Sunday, like, I'll pick him up and then he's like knocked out on my pillows every Sunday. So, I've had that happen, but I've never had a Korean man stare at my chest while trying to talk to me. That's never happened, which is interesting because that used to happen all the time in the States. So it was just really weird to have that happen again, at a dinner table. And I was like, whoa, I almost forgot what that felt like. So it was crazy. It's really crazy. So yeah, the majority of the conversation was with my chest. It was a very sexual, like, I don't know how to explain it. And even though we were talking about some of everything, of course you guys know I brought up God, obviously. Well, he brought up God and I was answering the questions he had, but like, just weird. Like, it felt weird. I felt like, why are you looking at me like that? Like, why? Ugh. But I told you guys, the reputation of African men is not that great where I'm from. So a lot of it is that they're polygamous, and very like grabby sexually, and yeah. So anyway, never again. She was like, oh, I had such a wonderful evening, you're such a dynamic woman, and I really want to, spend more time with you. And I was like, oh, thanks. Well, we'll see if time permits, then yeah, definitely. Andeo. I mean, he's nice. He wasn't rude. Just that was creeping me out. The constant at my chest was creeping me out, and he wanted to know a lot of details, like about what I'm doing and how I get paid. And I feel like when meeting someone new, that's something that you don't discuss. Like, I was just kind of raised that you don't discuss that. Like, you don't discuss how much money people make. You don't ask them the inner workings of their personal business if you just met them. So he was real, and I know that I make people feel comfortable, so maybe that's what it was. He just felt like he could ask me that because he felt comfortable. I don't know. I'm probably making excuses. But so it wasn't a terrible day. I've been on worse, but it just wasn't one that I would like to repeat anytime soon. And then all of a sudden he was texting me like, oh, I hope your day is great. If there's anything you need for your hand, let me know. Dude, I don't need you to be... I was just irritated. I'm sorry. I think I was just irritated already. And so, yeah, no. Not gonna do it. And he's from Cameroon. Some people are asking me what country he's from. Cameroon. So it's like his native language is French. So like the French plus the African accent, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Yes, the whole continent has the same accent. It's just thicker in some places than it is in others. His accent plus the French, I was like, what? Like half the evening I was really straining to hear. So that's the update. No. And he kept trying to force me to eat. Like, first of all, it was really late. It was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock before we actually got to a restaurant. And I wasn't that hungry, so I just had like a pasta. And he was ordering a second pasta. He was like, no, you must eat this. And I was like, no, I'm not hungry. I just had a bowl of pasta. I'm not going to eat any more pasta. And he's like, no, if I eat, you have to eat. You have to eat this. And I was like, yeah, so I'm not going to eat. But you could go ahead and order. And, you know, if you're still hungry, go for it. And he's like, it's really good. And, you know, I'm paying. You should eat. And I was like, well, if I need to, I can pay for myself, and I'm not going to eat because I'm not hungry. Like, I just had an entire bowl of pasta. I'm not going to have a second bowl. So that was like a 5-minute back and forth, and I was just like, why are you trying to force me to do this? I said, no, I don't want it. So I'm going to Taylor Swift on Friday. I'm going to a Taylor Swift concert in Seoul on Friday. I'm really excited about that. So I'm sure I have plenty of updates for you, from the KTX ride to some of everything. I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited. So, yes, I like Taylor Swift, by the way. I like all kinds of music, but I actually grew up on country music, and I used to want to be like my grandfather, who was a country music singer locally. I used to want to do that. I wanted to be like the first black woman country singer to make it big, and then someone else did it. So I was like, oh well. So, but I still absolutely love it. I still write country music. I don't know when I'll ever use it, but I write it because I like to write it. So yeah. Business. I had a lot of Facebook and YouTube questions about business. Like, business. If you want to start an international business, everybody wants to know where to start. Research. What is it that you want to do? Find someone who's done what you're doing. Or if you're creating a niche like I am and there isn't anyone that's doing what you're doing, find out how to make your particular product marketable. Like, know your audience. Then, specifically in Korea, I don't know about other Asian countries, but in Korea, you can't just up and buy a building or up and buy land or whatever if you're a foreigner. You can't come in. The U.S., you can do that. You can get your green card and go stake your claim. Yeah, you can't do that here. So, you have to either be married to a Korean or have a Korean business partner, which I actually happen to have a Korean business partner, and you guys know him as Oppa. So, him and he basically is my sponsor for what I'm doing here. So, yep. So that's how I got started. I had the vision. So write down whatever it is you want to do, even if you're in the States. Like, write down what it is that you want to do. Write it down. Lay a plan. How am I going to achieve this? So, and see yourself doing it. Like, you really have to visualize yourself doing that particular business, whatever it is, and visualize yourself successful in that business. You know. Like, before, I visualized vacations, I visualized where I was going to travel, I visualized the kids I was going to work with. I did all of that. Visualize it, then write it down in detail, as many details. You're going to add and change, but as a template, write down as many details as possible, and then say it, man. You got to keep saying it. Tell people, hey, I'm working on blah, 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 and I want, of course, not too many details because people steal it if it's a good idea, but yeah, details, and run with that. So that is the key to successful business is vision. Writing it, saying it, believing it, you know, and keep saying it. You know, people wanted to know, like, should they come here with a lot of money if they're going to start a business? I came here with no money, but I also have, you know, that is so crazy. A morning text from Mr. Africa. Anyway, no. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so you don't need a lot of money. I came with no money, but I also had provision. I also had like the plan of God on my life, and so that kind of happened. But if you don't necessarily have all that, which you should, but if you don't, then yeah, you do need investment money, because although I didn't come with money, when I got here, all of my money was going into my business. So you do need that flow to be able to financially support what you're doing. Because if you're not going to put your money into it, don't expect other people to put your money into it or put their money into it. So, and that's again business across the board. And lastly, yeah, I think I probably can give you more detail. If you guys send me questions, I can answer those in the video. I really do want to start like an Avery's Advice Corner. And it may not be the best advice, but it'll be my advice. So if there are things that you have on your mind, you know, you can put them in the comment box here, or you can inbox me and I will get them and answer them in the next vid. Oh, and people want to know, what do I do? I think I've covered this in at least 4 or 5 other videos, but for my new subscribers, thank you for watching. And if you're new, this is how I normally look. The past couple of videos I've had on makeup or whatever, but this is how I normally look for my videos. I do like a morning thing because of the lighting. So, yes, my business. I have a multiplex business, and I say multiplex because I do several different things. For the most part, overall, is the English consulting firm. Money-wise, non-profit-wise, I do teacher recruitment and missions training for teachers. So we work with orphanage and disabled, and then we travel to neighboring countries to do missions work there. So they teach during the day to do missions work at night, which includes international Bible study, international praise team, missions work. That's like and I love it. That's like what I do on my weekends. And then, as I said, my breadwinner is basically English consulting. So there's a program that I do, and I can't talk into too much detail. And people hated that the last video, but legally, I'm not allowed to say either one of these until February 28th. February 28th, I'll fill you guys in with all the details, I promise. But so that part, and of course, English. English is like the #1 industry here. So anything concerning English, I translate for people. I edit papers for students. Like, if it's concerning English, then and you're gonna pay me, then I do it. So that's my business. I guess you could say it's an English consulting company. But the crux of what I do, I'll be able to share with you on the 28th. So I'm really excited about that. Lastly, from my last vid, I probably should have made this a video response to my last video. And thank you guys. If you watch my videos all the way to the end, because I know they're long, thank you. Thank you. I would give you a better clap, but my hand's kind of jacked. So thank you. Really, really, and truly thank you for watching my videos. I do this for you. I really do. So, yeah. So, over my last video, how do you get out of having sex? Alright, so here's the skinny. If you are already, and this is obviously, you can use this if you're, a Christian or not, because I know I have people who are both, who watch. But if you're already having sex, and this is something you decide that you don't want to do, don't make it a biblical thing, because it shouldn't be in the first place. If you're not having sex, it should be because you don't want to, not because God says don't do it. Like, if that's the reason, you're going to get over that really quick, and you're going to end up having sex again anyway. So, if you are having sex and you want to stop having sex, do it because you want to, and do it with confidence, like you do anything else. Just like you made the decision to have it, make the decision not to have it. After I did the video, I got a lot of people, I'm in this situation and I don't know what he's going to say, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, if you're a woman, and I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective because I am a woman. If you're a woman and you're choosing not to have sex, then the man you're with has to respect that. That's not an option. If he loves you and respects you, and you say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable having sex anymore, I still want to be with you, I still want to see where this goes, but I don't want to have sex, I don't want that to be a part of it, I don't want that to be the center of what we do, then he should respect that. And if he doesn't, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't respect your decision to preserve your body? Even if you're preserving it for him later. Even if you're telling him, like, dude, I don't want to have sex anymore, but when we get married, you can have all of it that you want. It's for him if he's really seriously in this relationship with you, and that's your choice. And he should respect that. And you know what's funny? My pastor back in the States used to say, because he was very aware of what people do. As much as you try and be deep, oh, Christians shouldn't have sex, Christians are having sex. And so he was talking to people who are having sex, who haven't made that transition into not. And he said, you know, if you really want to see how a relationship is, then stop having sex. If it lasts and you guys work things out, then that's a beautiful thing. If all of a sudden he's angry with you all the time and blah, 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 that's not where you need to be. Which is true, because what if you get married and something happens and you can't have sex with him? What, is he going to be angry for the rest of your marriage? Ugh. So, yeah, make the decision to not have sex anymore. Make it, stick to it, have conviction about it when you say, okay, I'm not going to do it. Then don't put yourself in situations where you'll have to have sex. Like, when I decided to be celibate, I had to, like, not meet people at 12 o'clock at night talking about, oh, we're going to hang out. I already know where that's going. No. There were some phone numbers I had to erase because I knew the only time they called me was for a little bit of conversation and sex. So I had to stop talking to them. So you have to make the decision and then make the necessary adjustments after the fact to keep your decision. So if you're living with someone, that's a little bit different. Which is probably why old people call it shacking. You probably shouldn't shack because when you change things, it's hard to undo them because you're living with that person. But if you're living with someone and you want to stop having sex, I suggest you look for an apartment. Because if you moved in with somebody and sex was a constant thing that you guys were doing, and then you decided not to have sex, come on now, we're adults and we're human. If you crawl into bed with the man who you have feelings with and he has feelings for you too, you guys are gonna have sex. Like, let's not be deep about it. You're gonna have sex. So unless you're gonna sleep on the floor, or unless you have a 2-bedroom, which even that, I had a 5-bedroom and I still ended up sleeping with my boyfriend, and we still ended up living together every night, whether it was my bed or his. So let's just be realistic and not super deep. So yeah, if you are living with somebody, you're going to have to start to look for somewhere else to stay. In the meantime, you can keep sex to a minimum until you're able to really be like, I don't want to do that. So, as opposed to having it every night, try to have it 3 times a week. And then move down to 2 times a week. And hopefully you've had this conversation with him somewhere in between and eventually say, hey, we need to no time a week. And by the way, I have an apartment to make it easier. And when you're ready to live back with me, move in together again, then have a ring with you. Then we can be married and we can live together forever. So that's my suggestion. Feel free to agree, disagree, but that was my question, was like, dude, Ava, I totally want to stop having sex. I don't know how, because I'm living with this guy, or, you know, I'm dating someone and we really like having sex. Okay, well, sex is a good thing. God made it. It's a beautiful thing. It's just who you have it with and the time frame in which you have it. So you've got to make the decision and stick to the decision. Like, stay committed to the decision to not have sex. And if he's going to church with you, then easily you should be able to say, hey, this is what we're being taught, is to not have sex. So we probably should not be having sex. So let's try not to have sex. And when we want to have sex, I don't know, break out the Bible, read the word. I found, even, it's funny, true story though, when I was transitioning into celibacy, like, I used to keep my Bible out. Because, and I used to have, like, I have more than one Bible, but I had them, like, all over the house, just out. Because I was one of those people who had sex all over the house. So whether I was talking to you in the kitchen or whatever, there was a reminder of my choice to be celibate. And eventually, obviously, I didn't do it all the time. And I don't do it now. But it's true. Like, it's a lot harder to, like, get into that mindset when you have the Bible open looking at you. It's like, I can't do it. So for me, that's what I needed. I left my Bible out because it reminded me of my commitment, and it reminded me of who God was and who I was. So I still laugh about it now. I'm sure I freaked a couple people out because, I had male visitors and they'd be like, so you were studying, eh? And I was like, nope, not studying. How's life? So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm so tired. I'm on autopilot, man. I had like a tough week this week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Taylor Swift. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Talk to you soon.